That was this is from my little Rumi book. Um, so ignore the outward forms of things. Do not concern yourself with the names of people give to things. The form of a thing is a gate. The name of a thing is a title inscribed on the gate. Pass through the gate into the meaning within.
Oh, wow. Oh, that is just beautiful and so apt.
So it really resonated for me because we are naming the political pieces. I voted for this person. I voted, and then if we can pass through the gate beyond the name and the labels, I think we may see what's within ourselves and the other person.
Mhm.
So that's
Can I say something about that? I'm struggling this evening a lot. And the fact that the whole naming also goes the other way when how we were all feeling was just named as kumbaya and dismissed as that. Yeah, that's really unsettling for me. It's like, oh, it's the kumbaya and then we are the them, and we've spent the last hour and a half focusing on that them so called. And I'm like, what did I get wrong here? Like, what did I miss here? There's something that feels quite unsettling about sort of dismissing the sense of whatever, them, us, whatever, as kumbaya, and just kind of moving over that. And as if that's a given or that's okay. And I'm having a really hard time moving past that, moving past why are we not also giving space and unpacking that people were happy or were celebratory or that was, and creating space for that. My life got turned upside down for 2 years. My husband had to leave the country because of, so there were real consequences for my life. It's not an opinion, you know? So, and to have that just be dismissed as kumbaya, and maybe it wasn't dismissed, but rather labeled as kumbaya. So I am interested in that quote, Isabel, of, going past that. And I think it has to happen on all edges and not just on one side or the other. So yeah, so I feel very ironically themmed in this attempt to us, the them, and all of that.
Ah, that, I'm so glad you spoke, Shakafe, and you're speaking up for the experience of being happy about Biden, not as an idea or a political, um, it also is ideas and political values, but your life was um, was turned around in Biden winning, and you didn't want actually. Um, the kumbaya was not. That was something Ina had said to me in the video that you'll hear, but more a way of saying the sense of the whole group is in this one place, and she wanted to be in another. And you're saying that the whole group seems to be in one place, and you want to stand for your experience and of celebrating uh, it being important to your life that Biden won. And you don't want that to be shoved under the rug like you can't say that. Do I have that right?
Yeah, and yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we need to have room for Joe to say, I voted for Trump. Um, for you to say, I was really relieved and want space for that Biden won. No usness that erases the individual experience. Do I have that right, Shaka Faye? No usness that erases the deep experience of the individual. And you as an individual.
I think so.
No, I think something's missing there. Let's see if we can get to what's missing.
I'm wondering, Lynn, if I can just
Please.
share something.
Always.
What I heard Shaka Faye say was that she was happy that Biden won, not only just because Biden won, but the fact that Trump, his leadership had caused her and her partner, her husband, a lot of pain, it sounds like. And I just want to name that there's being happy that Biden won, but also another piece there that may have been unhappy about Trump's leadership and how that deeply affected her in her life.
Mm-hmm. Does that sound right, Shaka Faye, that you wanted that to be really recognized?
Yeah, and thank you, Clara, for bringing that to the fore. Absolutely, because for me, the sense was, and I was really confused, and I was working really hard to do this whole like us them thing, and maybe I have a long way to go in my own development and my sense of being able to hold that us, but it just felt like I lost my husband for 2 years because of these decisions. I mean, we've been apart for 2 years, and now we're, making difficult life choices directly as a consequence of these policies. So it had a very lived, it's not about how, my opinion of what other people think of Trump or this or that. It's not about me theming. It's like, oh my God, my life was torn apart. I had 1 week. We were given 1 week notice. And he had a visa of aliens of extraordinary ability, which is extremely difficult to get. Yeah. And within 1 week, we were told that he was going to be handed to ICE if they didn't leave. So no, it's not so it just felt like a misunderstanding or a mischaracterization or a misrepresentation of both my pain and my joy. It has nothing to do with theming, but a direct having to do with my lived experience of utter misery for the past 2 years as a direct consequence of this situation. So I felt like that was sort of I don't know, there was no space for that. And I think when Isabel said the whole naming and going through, I just couldn't, I had to bring that into this.
And you made a space for that.
I think it's really important, Lynn, to really pause with that for us to pause and invite you, Sakura, to hold that lived experience and the impact that had in the very fabric of your life is what I'm hearing. That it turned your whole living and life upside down.
Yeah, it wasn't just an opinion or a belief or an idea. It was every day.
And the impact of that and giving space to that, I think, is so, so important. And for us all to acknowledge and hold the impact of that for you as a community here this evening. And I'm deeply touched by that real sharing from your soul and your heart of that this evening. And I just want to reflect that back to you.
Thank you, Derek. That means a lot.
Yes.
Dr. Faye, it's Ruth. Oh, just being with what you shared, but also you're having really created this space of it is personal for each of us.
Yeah.
This is not about abstraction. No, none of it. And it's not just Biden or Trump. It's everything that is associated and the ways that each of us have responded to whatever the rhetoric, whatever the policies. Us and them sounds, what should I say? The complexity of my own feelings about everything. I can't even go into us and them. I'm trying to just hold the complexity of my own stuff around this. Mm-hmm. I watched myself a year or so ago going into, the them, because I was terrified and, history of Holocaust family. And so lots of things get triggered on many levels, many. Not, and then I see myself doing an us and them. I had to pull back from everything because that's not who I want to be. I don't want to have those characteristics that I'm criticizing, the other for.
Why it's so important and it's so difficult. It feels quite tribal and quite like pre-verbal. It does feel life and death. If you belong safely to an us or you're identified, your life is saved. You're pulled out. You get to belong, or you get to kind of be protected in a certain way. You're a part of. And if you're not a part of another sort of a tribe in a way, you're really in danger. And there's something in me that's like quite primal that really sort of experiences that in like a really life or death way. Like it's terrifying to not belong.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think I want to just say that last part again about it's terrifying not to belong. And we're talking about something so primal, the sense of belonging that our survival depends on.
Can I just say, I think that I want to say something about what Shaka Fe shared. I just want to say thank you, Shaka Fe, for presencing that. And the other piece that I want to say is that in passing through the gate into the meaning within, I think within myself, and thank you for bringing it forth. And the last thing I'm going to say is what you say was powerful. And I don't want that to not be acknowledged and honored. And I think that that's what Derek was saying. I don't want to trample over what you say because it's a lived experience for you, the separation for your husband and the pain and suffering that brought.
Mm-hmm.
Steve, it looks like you want to say something. You're lit up.
Me?
You just said, aha, and then you're lit up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just want, there's a picking up on what people have said about how that this is personal. It's not only opinion, and it's not only values, and it's not only stance, and that kind of thing, that it's personal. I just kept thinking about, I don't know if I've got the quote right, but some of what attracted me to Jean's work was the line, some version of, there's a person behind the eyes of everyone. And so there's, I would say that maybe we're looking at making some space for and acknowledging that there's a person behind the eyes of everyone who votes in a particular way or has a stance in some kind of way. So what Shakopee was doing and thank you, Shakopee, for me is kind of like, sort of in some kind of way, putting her fingerprint on her experience of happiness. And it was more than it was more than, quotes, just being on a team and having an identity of being on the right side, if you will, or the yes side. So that's what I wanted to say.
Lynn, I just wanted to thank Steve so much for that reflection. I feel like that's like spot on. It was, yeah. Thank you.
Welcome.
And I want to say that I would have liked to hear more quiet or a reflection off of what Rachel said, because I think what she brought, for me, it kind of was like a bomb that exploded into all the splinters and all the pieces of it. I really want to underscore it by saying it's terrifying not belonging. It's a matter of life and death. And I wanted to hear that again.
I think I saw Jane's hand a while back, and I don't believe I've heard Jane's voice since this group began. And I just wondered, Jane, what do you think about saying something now?
I don't remember what it was I was thinking of saying. I did raise my voice. I'm having so many feelings about what's been said. And I don't know which one to sort of light on, since I have a minute to speak, I guess, at this point. I'm very touched by both what Rachel and, forgive me if I say your name wrong, Shakopee? Shakopee, thank you. I think this is all very personal, and Ruth too said. It's all very personal. It's not, and so maybe that does create an us and them. But I know what it was that I was going to say, is people talked about being happy about the election. And for me, it wasn't happy. It was absolute unbridled joy, because I felt so threatened. And I feel so threatened by the stance that's being taken under. I don't want to get into, I'm trying to say this without getting into the politics of it, but it's just very personal. It's about I don't practice Judaism, but I'm of Jewish heritage, and so that comes up, the Holocaust and what happened in Nazi Germany, and the similarities here today, and that may be, I don't know, it's all very personal, and I work in immigration, so I'm very conscious of what's been happening, although I don't think it's just in this administration. But it was just, I think I'm not making sense because I'm trying to cover 10 bases at once. So
I think you're making a lot of sense, Jane, that for you, you want to claim that you felt unbridled joy about the results of the election, and that it's very personal, and the issues of the Holocaust come in there. And there, you said a number of other things, but in that vein of wanting to make room for the personal of your history and the sense of what I would say is relief or something.
Mhm. It's exactly what I said. It's just, we can now all breathe a sigh of relief. And I understand that people who, don't feel the same way probably feel the exact opposite, I understand that. I understand that there are differences, and I don't understand why there are differences. That's my...
You understand that there are differences, and you don't understand why there are differences. And Joe's going to help us here at some point.
Well, I'll just say that I was very moved by what Shakufei said. And I don't have words for it, but there's an inner knowing of justice. And I just feel a heaviness inside right now.
Thank you. Anybody else, just who hasn't spoken, just a sentence.
Abby,
I would like to say something. So the image that I'm getting as being here with everyone is each of us have a personal, and it's almost like a bubble around our lived experience. And like each piece of that looks so differently, but there's also like a land that we're all standing on, and there's like spaciousness between all the personals. And because each of the personals are so painful, we can't really, and we're so like in it, I think in focusing terms, like when we're too in it, like we're engulfed by it, and therefore like we can't have space for that middle spaciousness of the other's personal. And I really love what you said, Rachel, of like us and them, and this dichotomy that it creates of binary. But it's like if we could all it's not like letting go of the personal, but like seeing that we all have the personals, and then seeing that there is a spaciousness in between that we could possibly more step forward into. It gives me more hope.
Okay, I'm going to give you my them experience. If you were a real them, you would have done what I did. I didn't vote. That's what us thems did. We did not vote in this election. As a New Yorker, it doesn't matter what I voted for, so why bother? So that's my them experience.
So you came out as somebody that didn't vote.
That's right.
Thank you, Jim.
It's a funny one because I have I feel like I have a lot to say, and at the same time, I'm not sure how to put it or what to say. And it feels like I think the sense of belonging is very important. And I think when we don't feel we belong, this is where divisiveness comes in, and we feel that us and them. Politics with a capital P has a big influence on that. Yeah.
I like that term, politics with a capital P.
Yeah.
We have time for maybe one more person.
I know I already spoke, but I just want to say something super fast. Where, if that's okay.
Sure.
Okay. I'm just aware that because of my lived experiences and identities, I feel like I'm always on the outside looking in. So I don't know that I've ever had a sense of us. So that experience of not belonging, I think, has just been like a given. So even in this space, like I don't feel like I'm a part of us, but I feel like I can be here with you all. And I think that's just like a general feeling like, oh, I'm not a part of us, but I can still be here and interact and engage. So just putting that out there. Also, I didn't vote for either Trump or Biden, so also not part of that, but just appreciating hearing from you all.
And
Thank you very much for saying that.
give you all a little bit of hope from Ireland. We discovered in Ireland in our peace process that them and us were part of the one whole, and we had to find space to listen to each other to come together.
I want to jump in here because I think it's important.
Yeah.
I think it's important. I think Shakopee made two interesting, at least from my perspective, two significant points. And one is part of the finding common ground is to hear each other's story.
Yeah.
Because when you hear the story, your heart gets broken.
Yes.
And the other part is in terms of carrying presence, it means that each of us has to stand with Shakopee in her pain.
Mm-hmm.
And be able to stay with that and hold that and embrace that and that in that way honor that pain. And it brings you to a different understanding. You know, I mean, it's of course she needed to vote for Biden, of course, and that makes sense. That if you understand her pain and where that's coming from, and then of course that's an invitation then to say, moving forward, what do we do so that that doesn't happen again?
Thank you.